Everyone rolls in tonight. Welcome to Thoughtful Thursdays, um, a series in partnership with the Friends of Prevention Coalition of Richmond and Bare Soul Yoga. I am Ashley Williams, and I'm excited to join you all this Thursday and continue on our series that we began in earlier in this summer. So tonight, similar to all of our other times together, I would like to invite y'all into a brief centering before we really get started and get situated together. So begin to find a comfortable seated position. So this is going to just give us an opportunity to maybe transition from our day, noticing that we're all coming from different events, different experiences. We might be coming from work. So as you get settled, allow yourself even to take the gaze away from the screen and just begin to draw your awareness to my voice. And then if you feel comfortable, you may close your eyes. Or you may just find a focal point. So as you join into the space in our beginning of Thoughtful Thursdays, just find a comfortable seat. Close your eyes or a focal point. And tonight's centering practice to invite us into this space is called affectionate breathing. Begin to take slow, easy breath in and out. And as you do that, you may notice the support beneath you, whether you're sitting in a chair or on the ground or on the bed or the couch. But wherever you are, notice the support beneath you or around you, and then begin to take slow, steady breath. Allowing yourself to release any unnecessary tension as you notice your breath move into your body and you notice your breath move out. As you begin to slow down and arrive here, let the sounds that take place around you or any other thoughts or distractions be as they are. And maybe you begin to allow them to just move past this moment and bring awareness back to your breath. If you feel comfortable, you may take your hand and place it right on top of your heart or somewhere on your body that feels soothing. Not only just to find the soothing touch, but to bring awareness that your physical body is here right now. Notice your breath. You can keep your hand where it is as long as you'd like, or change its position at any time as you check in. Begin to notice the breathing in to your body and begin to know the breath float out of your body. Notice how your body and your breath are at this moment, at the end of your day, and at this space. Notice how your breath is filling your body up, providing it with nourishment. And notice how the body may relax as you release it or you exhale. Notice the rhythm of your breathing. flowing in and flowing out. Your mind will naturally wander as the body and the breath begin to slow down, and that is okay. Just gently return your awareness back to the rhythm of your breath. Allow your whole body to feel the warmth of your breath. And if it feels right, you may even just allow your breath to be your guide. Letting your breath be all that there is at this moment, and letting thoughts begin to pass. Not holding on to anything too tightly other than following the flow of your breath. And as you continue to take slow, deep, mindful breath, begin to check in and ask, how am I at this moment? Bringing in a sense of self-compassion and awareness without any judgment. You may think of a word or a phrase. And then as you gently bring your awareness back to your breath, allow yourself to release the attention on your breath, gently noticing your experience, and allow yourself to feel whatever you are feeling at this moment. And when you are ready, you may begin to slowly and gently open your eyes and bring your awareness back to the space of this virtual room, whether you are joining via Facebook or Zoom. And just take a moment and ask yourself the question, what did I notice? What did I feel? And how am I feeling now? So if it's helpful to share that and you have people around you, you might turn to them and tell them how you feel, that one word or phrase. If you have a notebook and you'd like to engage in that way, feel free to place that down. And then if you also are in the chat and Facebook, you may actually share how you feel there. And so once again, I'd like to welcome you all to Thoughtful Thursdays, which is a series that's presented by the Friends of Prevention Coalition and Bear Soul Yoga. We began this series as a way to introduce mindful-based strategies and techniques to not just manage stress, but to maintain overall well-being. And so for the month of September, which is National Suicide Prevention Month, we'd like to introduce today's session and September 24th session as a focus on mindfulness for stress management and self-care and ways that we can healthily manage what's taking place with our physical bodies, our emotional experiences, and our mental space. And so once again, my name's Ashley Williams. I'm familiar to many of you that join us each week, but I am the owner and the founder of Bear Soul Yoga and Wellness. I'm also a yoga therapist here in Richmond, Virginia. And I am really grateful to offer more practice and more skills around mindfulness. So if this is your first time hearing more about the concept of mindfulness. We're going to go over some definitions, but then we're also going to go over the definition of stress and why we would even use mindfulness to take care of ourselves. And then we'll revisit that definition of self-care, which we have introduced for the past few sessions. So as we get started, I'm going to share a screen with you all, and we'll check in on why are we here and what's important. So we come to this definition of what is stress. Stress is a mental tension, and so these are very formal definitions, and then we'll kind of just break them down. But stress is a mental tension to any change that requires us to adjust or respond. We may also define stress as a state of mental or emotional strain or tension resulting from adverse or maybe demanding circumstances that come from our personal life, from our work life, from our relationships and our social life. And we might also define it as a condition or a feeling that's experienced when we perceive something to demand, that places demands on us. We might perceive as something that a situation that might be too much. And so when we think about stress, we might actually even give it words as it's pressure, right? We might feel pressured. We might feel tense, or we might experience tension. We might experience strain. We might also experience a lot of just static. And so when we think about stress in the mindfulness realm, I like to define stress as the gray space that comes between our reality and our projected outcome. And so you've heard me probably say that before if you've been with us, but stress is a mental habit, and it also can be a choice. It's our response to our external situations, and we can choose to either accept what's taking place in our reality and move clearly in a more balanced way towards the next state, or we could resist what's actually taking place in our reality. Another definition of stress, especially coming from the mindfulness world, is what we resist persists. So if we resist things that are taking place in our life because it's not what we think that it should be, then we may experience stress. We also give an opportunity for that situation, not necessarily to get better, but maybe to actually get worse because we don't actually address it. Another understanding of stress might be what we might use as the term of suffering. And I like to define suffering as pain times resistance. And so pain could be that space of stress, something that's causing tension, something that's keeping us off balance, something that actually does not feel good. And that could be coming from a loss or a worry. It may be come from a hardship. It may be coming from a relationship or a heartache. And so we understand that all of those things may actually be inevitable. However, we have this opportunity to respond in a way that allows us to accept what's taking place. And when we accept it, that means that we actually say that this is okay. And then when we say that it's okay, we may decrease our ability to respond in a way that's unhelpful for our health, causing more tension. And then the last thing is what we can feel, we can heal. And so if we come into a space where we realize that there's tension or there's stress from a space of acceptance, I'd like to introduce the concept of self-compassion when those things happen. And when we are compassionate to how we feel, especially when it's unpleasant or it's a hardship, or it may actually even be experienced as pain, then we give ourselves an opportunity to become more aware of that experience and heal from that experience. So the definition of mindfulness is simply what I just mentioned. It's basically the practice of being present with a non-judgmental and compassionate attitude. It means that we are paying attention to our thoughts. We're paying attention to our feelings. We're paying attention to our mood. We're paying attention to our physical sensations in our bodies. We're paying attention to our external environment and the scenarios that surround us. And when we are more aware, we give ourselves an opportunity to empower ourselves to manage that situation in a way that's of least resistance and acceptance. So, what is self care? It's really just our intentional living and being mindful of all of those things that I just mentioned, and then making a decision to do what's actually best for us. So, let's think about what mindfulness would look like in a space of acceptance in our everyday lives. So, say that you are in traffic and you're on your way to a dinner, or you're on your way to a family party or some type of engagement. You have this opportunity to get frustrated that you've hit traffic. You might be late to the dinner. You might miss whatever the beginning of the dinner has in store. And so you may get frustrated. But the acceptance part of that situation is, if you are sitting in traffic on the way to dinner, you might actually say to yourself that I'm stuck in traffic yet again. And then maybe thinking about, okay, well, it's rush hour, and that makes sense. So I accept that I'm in the space of traffic because it's rush hour. And I'll get to the dinner when I get to the actual dinner. And when the time that I get to the dinner is the right time that I'm actually supposed to be there. So, can we actually accept our reality versus resist our reality? And that's a very simple example, but just thinking about how this plays a role in our everyday life of stress. So, as we continue introducing this concept of mindfulness, I want to just introduce a few tips that we might use to manage stress. And the first one is this concept of setting our mindset to cultivate a mindful attitude. And so situations are going to happen. We might not actually have control over them, but we have an ability to manage ourselves, whether it's pleasant sensations or unpleasant sensations. So what does it mean to actually cultivate a mindful attitude? It means that we are going to be in our experience. And when we're in our experience, we allow ourselves to meet the present moment of what's actually taking place with a sense of saying, whatever is happening is okay. Rather than saying, I don't want this to be happening. This is unfortunate. I don't want this to look this way. I don't want to feel this way. We bring in this space of saying, I accept what's happening in this experience. I have no control over some factors that are outside, but I do have an ability to manage myself. So we're being in our present moment with a sense of being okay. Some phrases that might look like are, I accept the experience right now. I am okay. You might even bring in that I am not enjoying this experience, or I'm not wanting to be here, but I am here. So being real with yourself with the okayness of what's taking place. The next thing is stabilizing our stress response. So in certain situations, our body and our mind will be activated into our stress response based on what's taking place in our environment. You may think about situations of being late to work. You may think about, once again, a loss or a worry. You may actually think about the relationship with another person. But thinking about something in your life that might be causing you stress right now, and then seeing if there's a way that you can hold your intention to stay present with that situation without any judgment, Say that what's happening is okay and not allowing yourself to suppress the experience or be completely attached to it. Allowing yourself to find some balance in that actual situation. And so one of the tools that we are going to introduce today as a mindful practice is a concept called Brifwa. It's breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. And so we do this practice with many students and teachers within school systems or administrators in different institutions, but we also do it with a lot of parents and a lot of people, just to kind of bring in that concept. When stress arises, how can we actually ride the wave of the stress rather than resist it? Understanding that when we can feel the situation, we give ourselves an opportunity to heal. So we say Brifwa, breathe, relax, feel, watch, and allow. So when we breathe through a situation, we use the breath as an anchor in the present moment. So think about how you're breathing now. Maybe even go back to how you were breathing when you first entered the space. Was your breath choppy? Was it smooth? Was it in your chest? Were you taking long breath in? But also think about what happens when you are stressed. Our breath tends to be tight. Our breath tends to be short, and sometimes our breath actually stops. So the first thing that we want to do to manage our stress is to find our breath and anchor into it by taking slow, mindful breath deep into our belly. In through our nose, down in our belly. The next thing is that we want to invite in relaxation. Granted, we do not want to completely ignore our situation. We don't want to suppress it. But we do want to invite in a sense of relaxation as a goal. And so we want to notice our experience and invite an ease into the body and the mind. Many times in stressful situations, you may notice that your shoulders get tense, your muscles in your face get tight, your mind starts to race or completely stops. Your cognitive ability to respond tends to usually be either cut off or reactionary, where you spew out certain words and questions or phrases. So how can you invite an ease to your body and to your mind? You might choose to even deepen the breath here. You might move the body. You might choose to do a meditation practice. You may choose to separate yourself from the group that you're in or the environment that you're in. How can you relax into a situation? The next one is feel. So notice your feelings, your thoughts, and your moods. When we notice our feelings, our thoughts, and our moods, we bring awareness to how it's actually being experienced in our body. For example, what does pain feel like in our body? What does embarrassment feel like in our body? What does hurt feel like in our body? What does negative self-talk feel like when we say it to ourselves? What does it feel like also in another way, on the opposite end of this stream? What does it feel like to be overly excited? So when we feel, we want to feel and encompass all the things that are taking place in our moment so we can begin to move through that sensation rather than hold on to it. So then it brings us to our next one, watch. Observe your experience without judgment. Mindfulness is the perfect technique for this. And by perfect, I mean it's just a technique that I tend to aim towards and use. But when we bring awareness to our experience as without judgment, similar to how we would if our child or a close friend or a beloved was experiencing something, it's that same self-compassion that we want to give to ourselves that we may give to others when they're in the midst of something that could be causing them stress. So we take ourselves out of our situation to observe what's taking place without judgment so we can heighten our level of grace and self-compassion to move through the situation. And then the next one, how can we just allow? Give yourself permission to understand what is happening rather than to avoid it. And so once we go back to that phrase, that suffering, which can also be known as stress or prolonged stress or chronic stress, may come from pain times resistance. So for tonight, I want to introduce, we did a breathing practice at the beginning to enter into this space, but I want to introduce 4 different mindfulness practices that you may use as you work through managing stress with Brithwa. And those are doing an equal breath in and an equal breath out. When we invite an equal breath in and an equal breath out, we begin to allow our body to begin to find a sense of balance. So for example, you may breathe in for 3 and you may breathe out for 3. The longer your inhale and the longer your exhale, the more that your nervous system will activate what we call our relaxation response. But begin to find an equal inhale and an equal exhale. Our second practice that we'll introduce tonight is progressive muscle relaxation. Go back to those times and thinking about a stressful situation and notice which parts of your body tend to be tight and tense. That tends to be the shoulders, the hips, the jaws, the muscles in the face. And so progressive muscle relaxation simply occurs when you tighten a part of your body. Notice the sensation when you tighten and tense it, and then invite yourself to breathe and to relax. That's where you can practice the Brithwa. Another practice is aromatherapy. And aromatherapy simply is using herbs and essential oils to help elicit and to activate your, once again, relaxation response. You may choose to use a diffuser for that, and you may choose to use certain topical oils and placing them on your wrist or your neck. You may choose just to even step outside and allow yourself to take 5 breaths and smell what's taking place around you. Just noticing that any part of nature or your environment and taking deep breath elicits your sensory of smell, which also has a calming effect on the body. And then the last one, which we're going to practice together, is the mindfulness compassion meditation. And so self-compassion is one of the foundational practices of mindfulness. It is the practice of allowing ourselves to notice what it feels like to be kind to ourselves. It gives us an opportunity to understand what it means to feel safe and supported from within. It's also a practice of forgiveness. So many times when we experience stressful situations, resistance may look like denial. Resistance may end in spaces of shame because we allowed, or we think that we allowed, situations to occur to cause us stress. Sometimes we're disappointed with our response. So when we engage in this practice of letting go of resistance and bringing in compassion and kindness to whatever experience we have, it allows us to be more aware. So our practice of loving kindness is a guided meditation where we invite in the compassion. So wherever you are, I'm going to invite you to get comfortable in your seat and find a comfortable way to be in your body. You may choose to lie down. You may choose to stay seated. You may choose to even stand. But wherever you decide to land, allow yourself to get comfortable. So give just about 30 seconds to begin to find yourself into the space that you would like to land. And our practice for this meditation is that you notice any resistance that comes up for you. We engage in compassion towards ourselves because sometimes when we're in the midst of stressful situations, it can be really challenging to develop feelings of loving kindness to ourselves. That may also look like negative self-talk. So as we get settled, invite yourself to either find a focal point. So maybe you're looking up towards the ceiling or something that's not moving in front of you. Or you may just choose to close your eyes. So this practice has many elements and different parts. And as I guide, simply allow yourself to let the words do all the work. Begin to take slow, deep breath in and out to settle your body. Begin to invite your mind and your body into this present moment. Once again, letting go of the sounds that take place around you. Begin to take your hand and place it right on the top of your heart, or once again, wherever feels like it may be a soothing or comfortable touch. Using this soothing touch as a reminder that your physical body is present. And not only just to bring awareness, but to bring in loving kindness to your experience and to yourself. After a while, begin to feel your breath move in and out of your body. Allow this experience to be even slightly different from the experience in which you entered the space, and notice your in breath and notice your out breath. Feel your breath move through your body and notice where your breath is moving most easily. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. And when the mind wanders, invite your awareness back to the gentle rhythm of your breath. Allowing this to signify that pause of when we want to move from a situation, all we have to do is gently invite ourselves back. Now begin to gently release the focus on your breath and begin to allow your breath to slip into the background of your awareness, just letting the breath fade into the background. Begin to offer yourself a phrase of kindness and love. It may look like, I am loved, I am supported. Gently find words or a phrase that feel comforting and soothing to you at this moment. Repeat those words over and over, letting them encircle you, letting them surround you. If it feels right, absorb those words. I am loved, I am supported, or whatever phrase you chose, gently let it feel your physical body and your being. Knowing that in any moments of stress, you are supported. Allow the words to resonate through every cell. I am loved, I am supported. In this moment, you have nothing to do and nowhere to go. Just bathing yourself and filling yourself with kind words and soaking them up, words that you need to hear. Give yourself the opportunity to manage your experience and support yourself by soaking in these words of kindness and love. And wherever you notice any resistance or you notice that your mind has wandered, simply refresh by taking a slow breath in or coming back to those words. Simply feel the sensations of your soothing touch if the hand is still placed there. Feel the sensations in your body. And then once again, offer yourself those words. Come home to the support that is always with you, regardless of what goes on around you. Come home to your kindness. Take a slow, steady breath in and then allow that breath to float out. And then finally, as you begin to release the phrase, allow yourself to rest quietly in the body, checking in with how you are in this moment. And when you're ready, invite yourself just to come back into the virtual room by gently blinking open your eyes. So, as you gently end the practice, thank you all for taking part in it. I invite in the question of reflection of how do you feel in this moment? How was that experience for you as you offered yourself grace and kindness and love? Also synonymous with self-compassion, which is necessary in those moments when we are experiencing situations that may cause us to respond in ways that may be unhealthy to our well-being. Can we give ourselves grace and self-compassion and kindness so we can invite in seeing our movement and our responses in a more clear and balanced way rather than through resistance causing our stress? So as you think and reflect on your experiencing, asking, how was it to be still? How was it to offer myself this loving kindness and support? Did the phrases offered resonate, or did the personal phrases that I came up with resonate more? Can I take the phrases that seem to resonate the most with me throughout my day as I engage in my daily life and may experience situations that have an opportunity to cause stress. If you have any questions or comments about that practice, I invite them. And as we come into an end, some ways that we can just manage stress in more mindful ways. So we went over those 4 mindful practices, and I encourage you to use those practices as well as using that Brifwa statement when you're met with a stressful situation, to either journal or speak positive words or affirmations to yourself. And by positive, that simply means helpful. We want to accept that there are events that we actually can't control, but we do have an opportunity to manage our own emotions and how we respond. We might mindfully communicate feelings, our moods, and our thoughts in ways that people can hear us and maybe support us. We may take 5 minutes during our day to meditate, so maybe using that loving kindness meditation. Exercising or regularly moving our body. Stress is stored in our body, and we may not know where stress is stored in our body if we don't take mindful awareness to check in with where are we feeling tense or tight. Eat well-balanced meals, and by well-balanced, that means simply just checking in with your body when you do eat something, and then notice your body's response to it. Manage time effectively. And this goes with the next one. Set boundaries and say no if something seems to not actually fit or meet your needs at that moment. Make time for hobbies, interests, and relaxation. Asking that question, what brings me joy? And then resting and sleeping. Those are the times when our body actually restores and then actually counteracts the effects of stress. So give yourself an opportunity to find rest, and then find a community and social support where you can engage in conversation about things that are causing certain emotional experiences, noticing that you are not just supported by yourself, but there's opportunity to be supported by those around you. So if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. Otherwise, really take time to take care of yourself. My contact information can be found at Bare Soul Yoga on all different outlets, as well as our email, or as well as our website, www.baresoulyoga.com. I also want to extend an invite to you all. If you are in Richmond, we are hosting a Breathe, Move, Connect social wellness experience that introduces mindfulness activities on September 19th. It's a socially distanced outdoor activity with yoga, mindfulness for both youth and adults. And so if you want to find out information, feel free to find us on Facebook or Instagram. And outside of that, thank you all for joining us, whether you tuned in on Facebook and or you tuned in via Zoom. Once again, my name is Ashley Williams, and this is Thoughtful Thursdays, a partnership between the Friends of Prevention Coalition and Bare Soul Yoga. Take time to join us on September 24th for our next series, which is going to be the power of words and writing. And we'll use mindful techniques and how we use our words, not just towards ourselves, but an expression of what's taking place in our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, to enhance our overall well-being. But I hope that you all are well. Stay safe, and you can sign up and register for the next session on the Friends of Prevention Coalition website and the Eventbrite. Take care and have a beautiful night.